Greetings. I wanted to do a quick video today for those of you who wish very much to become a competent tarot reader but are afraid. You're just afraid. You've bought your deck, maybe you've read the books, you're trying to learn meanings, whatever. Um, it just seems over your head. You seem overwhelmed by it. And I can understand that because there is, and for every new reader, there are 10 old readers who are standing here telling you that it took us years to get to where we are. And you go, I don't want to take years. I really want to learn. And I really understand that. And I want to say, first of all, if you have the ability to get into some tarot classes, like I'm going to be starting up a new session soon. That's a wonderful way to learn because you're going to get not only one-on-one support, but you're going to get support from other students from all different levels, and we support each other, and that's at least the way I run my classes, and that's it. There's nothing like it. You get those many hours of practice during a session. You know so much more. You know so much more than you did. You have so much more confidence because we're doing it together. We're doing everything together, and it's always better. I wish I would have done that when I was learning. It might not have taken me so many years. With that being said, it is very possible to learn without a teacher. It is very possible to learn just by using YouTube videos such as this one, and such as the ones I put up in my tarot section. There's some channels that are dedicated nothing but learning to read tarot. It can be done, and I want to say you just have a little bit of confidence. And I want to try to give you a little bit of confidence today with just three very simple tips. Three simple tips to make sure, no matter what kind of a reader you want to be, no matter what kind of cards you want to read, in what situation, if you want to just do it for yourself or your family or your friends, or you want to try to do so professionally in the future. These things are all possible, but you really need to start with three simple ideas. No matter what system you use. And the very first tip is use the right kind of deck, the right type of deck. What are you trying to find out? If you want to know questions answered, if you have some questions answered, general big questions, you want to know some details, you want to know, or maybe you just want to understand what's going on right now, or those kind of um, something about relationships or something about, you know, um, situation, your home life or whatever, you need a tarot deck. You need a specific tarot deck. You need a deck such as the Rider-Waite, something like that, in order to understand that it's good. You can choose a layout of 3 cards. You can choose a layout of 5 or 6 cards. You can use a layout of 10 cards. It doesn't matter. You still need a tarot deck, because the tarot deck is designed with both the major and minor arcana, like in the Rider-Waite. It's designed for big things in life and little things in life. That's what the major and minor arcana are about. It's designed to tell you that. So all of the potentials, all the possibilities are available in that deck. And when you shuffle and you bring it out, all the answers can be there. Some decks are very limiting and cannot provide you with all the answers you need. Think about an oracle deck. Now, I love an oracle deck. Okay. I really do. There's some that I love. And I told you I'm getting a new, if you saw my video recently, there are some, I've even intended, I use a lot, some of the ones I use a lot, and I even ordered one to work with my crow decks. Okay. Um, but that's a really good use for an oracle deck to use with a tarot deck, to use, to give another bit of maybe a focal point. What is the focal point of this reading? Or if you're the kind of person who likes to pull one card a day, either to get some kind of a forecast for the day, or some kind of a prediction for the day, or some kind of, maybe you pull it at the end of the day to get some kind of a what was it all about? What was the lesson I should have learned today? One deck, one card thing. Or maybe some people keep a focal point, an area to focus in on their altar. An oracle deck is really best for that. Pulling one card out of a tarot deck, getting a tarot deck and pulling one card. What is it going to tell me? What did I get here? I got the Three of Vessels. Okay. This is the Wildwood. Three Vessels. What does that tell me? Okay. It talks about joy. We think of the Three of Cups also as some kind of, like some maybe a new baby. Am I going to have a baby? Okay. This isn't telling me very much, just pulling one out of a tarot deck. But if I pull one out of an oracle deck, it's going to say something that might mean something. It's going to have a... The other thing is I want to say you don't want to use an oracle deck to read tarot because very often they're all positive. It's like an affirmation, a lot of positive affirmations. Now, the oracle deck that I've just ordered, that's one of the reasons I like it because it has, both dark and light. It has positive and not so positive things. I'll share that as soon as it comes. Okay, but you see my point? You're limited in what you can get with an oracle deck. So if you wanted questions answered, an oracle deck is not where you go. Okay. A third kind that we talked about here. Now there are other decks. There's other kind of decks too, but the third major kind of deck that we talked about here, which you might have and you might want, and we started to talk about it again, and we're going to revisit. We're going to do more in it, I promise. We got started sidetracked. Is a Lenormand. A Lenormand deck, which are oracle cards technically, because it says on the box, Lenormand oracle cards. But the thing is, you don't really do them in one. You don't do one card at a time. You do them in, like a subject and a verb. You do like two, or you do three in a row. You read a little short, you make a sentence out of the cards. So they're really good in case you want to have like quick to the point. No, something quick to the point. I need to give me a set. What's happening? That 3 cards, and it's going to tell. It's going to tell you. And I have, if you're not sure, I have some. What I mean, I have. If you look in my playlist, I have a few videos up on how to read Lenormand, and we're going to be doing. I have a couple more, 2 more in the queue that are going to be putting up really soon, and be added to that playlist. But that's a whole other thing. You see. So it's really important that you decide first what kind of what do you want to know, and then you pick a deck that's appropriate. Now, okay, you also need to pick the right one. If you just saw my deck I just showed, the Murder of Crows Tarot, when I interviewed this deck. This deck is a pretty dark deck. It's pretty in the shadows deck. Okay. Some subjects do not, I wouldn't look in this deck for some answers to some things. I wouldn't look at a Care Bears. I don't know if the Care Bears even exist. Or Hello Kitty. What is it today? I don't know what it is today. But you know what I'm saying? That little, unicorn deck, a little sweet unicorn and stars wishy deck. Or a little, for answers on, a problem, solving a problem, like something really serious, I wouldn't look in one of those decks. So you want to make sure that the deck you have suits the subject of your reading. This is why, if you take classes with me, I always tell you to make sure you have in your repertoire, in your collection, one deck, pick one deck that is based the Rider-Waite-Smith version. Because with the major and minor arcana, the 78 cards, that gives you the realm of possibilities. Make sure you have one that's not all too askew in one weird way. The other ones are good for reasons. It's good to have a lot of decks. I mean, some people have hundreds. I don't think I'll ever have hundreds. I don't want them. But a lot of people remember collecting those decks because they're collectors. They're not to say they're not readers, but they don't read most of those decks seriously. If you talk to somebody like Simon at Herman's Cave, he even tells you these are the decks that he works with. He has a handful of decks that he works with regularly. But he has other ones that he cherishes and loves. but he cherishes and loves them for whatever reason, maybe not for how they read. Is that making me, is that clear? Okay, that's tip number one. Choose the right type of deck and the right deck. Your deck is very important. Okay. Tip number two, ask the right questions. And along with that is use the right spreads. We learn a lot of 3-card spreads in our tarot classes, and I show using a 3-card spread, you can name those 3 things, anything you want. Past, present, future. Do this, here's the focus, don't do this, or whatever. Or you can have, you know, uh, things you know about, things you don't know about, things that might help you, things that won't help you, things that you need to remember, things that you should forget. There's all kinds of ways to read 3 cards. Ask the right questions. A lot of decks come with a Celtic cross. Do we ever use a Celtic cross spread? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's 10 cards or at least. When I read it, I usually do a combination with the Lenormand deck, but you don't always need to have all those cards. You don't always need to have all of those cards in a reading. So don't try to use that same spread for every situation. Some things need many fewer cards than that. But make sure the questions are being asked that you want to know the answers to. That's really important. If one of the questions, if you find a really cool tarot spread on the internet, you think, oh, that looks so cool, I want to try that. Or maybe from me, I give you one to go, I really want to try that. And you look at it and you like it all except this one position that's what? I don't know, what the heck is that? I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. Don't use that. Rename that position. Rename that position. I think somebody asked me, I don't know what was the context, but somebody was asking me, oh, I remember a friend was asking me about in her spread, we got to this, and I think it's in the Celtic cross, this position up here, 9, position 8 or 9, whatever. Hopes and fears, hopes and fears. What are hopes and fears? What does hopes and fears mean? Hopes and fears, didn't we always, because we're almost to the end, right? You do these cards in the cross and then you start to go up and you get up here and it's like hopes and fears or something like that. She's like, what the hell? What the hell? What is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? If you can't make it mean anything, get rid of it, call it something else. I have rewritten. The reason I'm not really sure is because I have written my own version of a Celtic cross. Changes from time to time. I rewrite it, what the cards mean, what the positioning are. Okay? It's the same kind of thing, but I rewrite it a little bit. And again, we're going to talk about that in our class, but you don't have to worry about it. I mean, this is not just an advertisement for my class. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But I want to say that we all go through that. I've been reading as many years as I've been reading. I still, from time to time, change up my spreads all the time. Don't be afraid to do that. Ask the questions you need to know to get the answer, to get an accurate answer to the questions you have. But don't answer just a yes or no. The yes or no questions are not good. They need to be open-ended kind of questions. They need to be not, should I marry this man or a woman? That's not a good question. Ask a tarot deck. What qualities does this man have that I might admire in a partner that I want to marry? At the same time, if you're going to ask that, you might want to ask, what qualities does this person have that I might want to be on guard a little bit with? That I might want to find out more about before I commit to marriage? Those kind of things. Those are open-end questions. A little more open-end, I think. I don't know. I hope you understand what I mean. Okay. When you're asking the questions, when you're asking the deck, the time to ask is shuffling. What man, I'm going to be asking you about the man I want to marry, or I think I might want to marry. I'm not real sure, but I'd like to know. I'm going to be asking you, like, to give me, pros and cons of this kind of a union with this person. What might be positive qualities that I would really admire? What are maybe negative qualities? what kind of things you might also want to say. I'm also going to be asking you, like, um, what is the basis? What is really the basis for the feelings that I have for this man? What are the, what does he give me that I need? What does he remind me of? Does he remind me of something in my past? Am I trying to replace something in my past with him? Or do I love him for the way he is now? Whatever the questions are, you ask when you are shuffling. And then when you feel that it is right, you stop and you deal. Okay? Give your deck a chance to work for you. It doesn't know what you want if you don't tell it. Okay? And finally, this is really important. This is what I really meant to say. The whole reason for making this video. Take all the time you need when you're reading cards, when you're reading a spread. Within reason, of course, knowing that, of course, the energies, if I'm going to leave a deck, leave a reading lay, leave a tarot reading lay or spread lay, cards lay out, the energies are going to change. If this is something timely, the energies are going to change a bit as time passes. So it becomes irrelevant the longer time that passes. But what I mean by that is, don't be afraid to let those cards, how many you have, and let them sit. Get a first impression, fine. Contemplate it a while. Leave it, come back, look at it again. Come back, maybe look at it again. I want to say that as a reader, I know I don't do anybody a service, and I know that most of us do a great disservice when the only thing we see are these instant reads. And what I mean by instant reads are, I'm going to shuffle this card, and I'm going to shuffle my cards, lay them out, and go, read cold, give it to you. This is what we'd have to do when we're working someplace like when I worked at Psychic Fair, and I do 21 readings in, how many hours? 6 hours or 5 or 6 hours. Okay? When I'm doing all those readings, one right after the other, right after the other, right after the other, people step up, sit down, I deal, I tell, in 15 minutes, ding, the next person comes, sits down. I don't have time to think. I have to pull that out of my, I really have to use my intuition. I'm really using my intuition. I don't know that person usually at all. I don't know what to say. So I'm using my intuition. I'm using my skills as an empath to read their body language, to see their expression. I don't know what I'm doing. I just have a feeling that this is, and of course, my basic understanding of the cards that I'm using. I would never do that with a deck I wasn't familiar with. I only take decks that I really, really trust with me to do that. Okay? But my point is, we do those, and we see those on the internet. People are I'm going to give a card right now, or we see that all the time, and people are always asking me, can you pull a card for me? Well, sure, I will, but what kind of a reading are you going to get? Now, when you hire me to read, I will do that. If you're in person, I will do that, of course. We do that in person. But if you're even when I do a reading and we're going to schedule something for Zoom, a reading for Zoom, or if I'm going to do it just on a YouTube video, I will lay that reading out, and I will live with it a day or so, and I'll keep looking at it, because I want to consider the relationship between the cards, the position of the cards, how one card plays off another, what effects, what really am I getting, what kind of answers, how is that answer that I'm getting that card, how does that relate to the question that was asked in the reading? Yeah. I have a tarot card. That's terrible. Oh, look at that. Well, the tarot card is not in the position. It's in a position of something that was in the past. And all that has come new it's just, yeah, I'm still maybe sad about that, or that's affecting me somehow. That it might have an effect on this, but it's not something bad's going to happen to me now or in the future. It's happened in the past. Where is it in your spread? You see? You need to take time to make sure you're considering these things and you're putting them in the right light. Don't be too hasty. Don't be too hasty in your reading. Also, do not be too hasty in pulling extra cards. Now, I've been known to do that, and I will pull extra cards, and I will do that more often when I'm doing a quick reading, like in the park or in, the Psychic Fair weather. And I only have 15 minutes to get to the point. And if I got nothing, if the person's giving me nothing, cold fish, I'll maybe pull another card. Or maybe to clarify one card, I don't get this one card. Can you give me a clue? What's this about? I'll pull another card. But don't be too hasty for this. Allow the cards, read the cards as you lay them out first. Give them the chance. Give them the chance. And finally, at the end of that point is if it still doesn't happen for you with this reading, pick them up. Forget about it. Come back tomorrow, try again. Come back tomorrow, try again. Don't try to do the same thing now because you want give the energies a chance to shift a little bit. Do it again, but go through the whole process. Talk to your deck, tell your deck again what you want, or try it with a different deck. Or try with a different deck. Maybe you don't have a good matchup between your question or your what you want to know and what deck you use. Okay. Be kind to yourself. Tarot is meant to help you, not to freak you out or make you nervous or scare you. Tarot readers are fun. We're fun, happy people. We just want to help you. We have gifts we want to share with you. And a good reader will work with you. If you go to somebody, they'll work with you. Give me something. What do you think this means? They'll bring you into the reading. The reading is for you. It matters. It has to matter, right? Well, you have to give yourself the same courtesy when you're reading. When I'm reading my own cards, I have to give myself the same courtesy that I would give somebody else who has paid me money. And allow myself the opportunity to really totally understand what I see in front of me. So these tips are not just for those of you who are trying to learn, that are trying to not be fearful, get over your fears. These are for me too. I have to remember these 3 tips. Remember them, incorporate them into your tarot practice, and you really have a head start. You're on your way. You're on your way to finding out what you need to know from the cards. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Rebecca, and I wish you blessings.